Hello everyone, it's Space Chaser again. Welcome to another one of my videos. This is another one that fuses together transport and local history. And we've got another one of the Humberside County Council concept drawings of the Peaks Parkway project here. Drawn by the council's draftsman artist. I'm not quite sure what his job title was, but Philip Bauer, or Bowers, I believe his name was Bowers, that's what I've been told anyway, but I've looked on the internet, I can't find any recollections. So if anybody does know for definite, let me know in the comments, that would be absolutely great. This one shows the Victoria Street junction with Peaks Parkway. Now Peaks Parkway, as I explained before, I did a video on a picture of Ellis Way, which is off to the left of this view. More on that in a moment. I'm also planning, as I do this, a sequence looking at Peaks Parkway actually on the ground. But Peaks Parkway was a three-stage process. It wasn't just the road called Peaks Parkway. The A16, which runs from the Victoria Street junction here along to New Waltham and is the road just here in the top centre. So it wasn't just that road that opened in 1998, it was a three-stage project. Humberside County Council were astute enough to realise that they couldn't just build the new road and have it dump traffic into the existing road network of Grimsby, because that road network would then gridlock. It wouldn't be able to cope. So they built two other roads first of all. Phase 1, which was opened in 1988, was Frederick Ward Way, which is the road to the right in this picture. It replaced a road called Baxtergate. It basically acts as a town centre bypass, so it takes through traffic from the Bargate and Dudley Street directions, and it lets it avoid the town centre. It can come through to here and then go off, towards the docks or towards the Freeman Street area, or to access the A180 without having to go through the actual town centre. So that opened in 1988. That was phase 1 of the Peaks Parkway project. Phase 2 rejoiced under the name of the East Marsh Link Road when it was being built, but when it opened in 1993, December 1993, it was called Ellis Way, and that's the road to the left in this picture. Again, I've done another video on that one because I've got a picture of Ellis Way similar to this one. I'll put a link in the description to this video to that video as well. That was phase 2 of the Peaks Parkway project, and that provided a quick link between this junction and the Freeman Street shopping area, the busy shopping area around Freeman Street, Hainsden Avenue and the East Marsh. Before that, traffic from the town centre had to use the existing streets. Pasture Street had been one way towards the town centre, and traffic coming out of town had gone along Robinson Street East and round there. If you know those streets, they're not really the widest, and you do wonder how they coped with the traffic. So that was put in to relieve the traffic flow and to take it away from those streets. And then phase 3 of the Peaks Parkway project was Peaks Parkway itself, running along the old railway line, the East Lincolnshire Railway, as I say, from this junction down to New Waltham, and it became part of the A16 road. So this is a County Council concept sketch, as we said. I would assume it was done in the mid to late 80s, before most of the projects were opened, in fact probably before all of them opened, possibly predating the opening of Frederick Ward Way in 1988. What makes me date it with that is the cars. They're a bit of a pastiche of cars of the time. This one here has sort of overtones of Mark II Ford Escort coupled with Ford Cortina and perhaps Vauxhall Viva. The van coming the other way, which appears to be a post office van, is a kind of mix of the little Bedford van, I think it was the HF, and the Leyland Sherpa of the time. But they certainly look like sort of mid-80s cars rather than late 80s, early 90s. We can tell as well it's a concept drawing. There's a lot of detail that's not in it. So first of all, let's have a look at the buildings round. So this mock Tudor building here with the sort of timbering effect is still there to this day, as I'm recording this in December 2024. Obviously, if you're watching it in 2070, it might have been demolished by then, but it's still here in 2024. And it's the office of a solicitor at the moment, which is quite handy because the police station is just further back behind where the artist would have been. So that's still there, that building. This corner is just rough waste ground, so there's nothing there. That is still the same now, although the wall's in a bit of a sorry state. It's not quite as continuous as it's shown in this one. On this corner there is a building, a large shop building. It was Allied Carpets at one time. Nowadays it is Home Bargains, and it's kind of dovetails with B&M that loops around it a little bit as well. I'm assuming that was built just after Frederick Ward Way opened in 1988, so late 80s, early 90s. So it probably wasn't here at the time this concept drawing was being prepared. So the corner possibly was fallow, possibly had nothing on it. It's showing a bit of a car park here, again with some rather conceptualised cars parked on it. It may well have been a car park at that time. Again, if you do remember this junction in the sort of mid-80s, let me know what was on that corner. One of the important changes to reality that didn't actually happen in real life, you can see Victoria Street there is blocked off to traffic. So Victoria Street comes across from there and it continues along here. This is also Victoria Street South to be exact. But yeah, it was never actually blocked off. It's quite possible they intended to block it off to through traffic as part of the scheme, but it was never actually done. It would have helped immeasurably, to be honest. If anybody knows this junction, you know, I absolutely hate it, as a lot of people who live in Grimsby, because it's awful. I don't drive, but Mrs. Percy Chaser does. We've come up to it in the car, for, you know, on many occasions, and no matter which direction you approach it from, I don't think we've ever seen a green light. You always seem to get stopped at it, and you're always stopped for absolutely ages, because obviously there's so many roads filtering into it. You've got Frederick Ward Way, you've got Ellis Way, you've got Peaks Parkway, and you've got the two bits of Victoria Street, all filtering into the same junction. As a pedestrian, it's even worse. I often walk across there, sometimes on my own, sometimes with my border collie Alfie, who you'll know accompanies me, regular viewers, he's often in my videos. It takes absolutely ages to cross the road. I've even had somebody from out of town ask me if the crossing was working, if I thought it was ever going to change, and I just explained to him that, yeah, it always takes this long, you know, it really is, it's horrendous, but not much can be done. It's such a busy junction with so many different entrances to it. So possibly blocking Victoria Street off would have helped, you know, it would have eased the flow of traffic, altered the phasing of the traffic lights. You wouldn't have needed that bit. It would have been possible, as the road layout was in the late 80s, early 90s, the bus station, when Frederick Ward Way was built, a bus station was built just off it, so buses used to come either through the town centre, through the bus station and out onto Frederick Ward Way, or they would go down Frederick Ward Way through the bus station in the other direction into the town centre. So the buses didn't use Victoria Street, whereas nowadays they do. The bus station closed some years ago, and buses were diverted to stops around the streets, and they now use Victoria Street to get out of the town centre. So obviously being blocked off would have been a problem, but back when the bus station was in operation, when Frederick Ward Way first opened, it wouldn't have been an issue. But that would have helped, as I say, with the traffic flow immeasurably. Other things that give away this is a concept. There's no pedestrian crossings. In reality, there's pedestrian crossings across all this. The island there is a lot bigger than it's shown here, as kind of is that one. But the main difference is this corner. As it was built, there's a bit of a slip road around from Ellis Way to Peaks Parkway with a little bit of a pedestrian island in the middle. This green area doesn't exist. They never did it. Basically, there's a small car park in front of these buildings. And then there is a pathway leading up to Pasture Street, but it's not as broad and as tree lined as that. It actually is really, really narrow, and it runs along the corner of these buildings up to Pasture Street there. It's the remains of Queen Street. Queen Street was kind of here where Peaks Parkway actually is, so that was kind of the opposite side of Queen Street. I'm not quite sure what the building there is supposed to be. What is actually there on the corner of what was Queen Street is the Duke of Wellington Public House, but that doesn't look anything like the pub. But anyway, again, it's a concept drawing. But yeah, that corner is substantially different in how it was actually built. You can see the bridge carrying Pasture Street there. Just beyond that is a bridge carrying the railway line between Grimsby and Cleethorpes as well, which cuts across the scene and comes over Ellis Way just off to the left of the picture. You've got the Grimsby Coal, Salt and Tanning Warehouse building there on the corner of Pasture Street and Robinson Street East. It's done kind of faded and not in detail to give the impression of distance, but it is a fair representation of the building. You can recognise what it's supposed to be. And you've got the rooftops of Grimsby there, the Heneage estate, basically, there, and the trees beyond around Wheelsby Woods and that kind of area. So it is quite a good little painting. It's just, obviously, it's a concept drawing, and I'm guessing, as I say, it was done before the roads were actually opened, because there are some detailed differences between what's on here and what was actually built. But it's a very, very interesting piece. It's one of two. As I say, the other one showed Ellis Way, and I've done a separate video on that one, which I will put the link in the description too, so you can watch that one if you want to do. But yeah, very, very nice piece. I hope you've enjoyed it looking at it with me, and as I say, I will do a separate video where I actually look at the Peaks Parkway phases, so Frederick Ward Way, Ellis Way, Peaks Parkway itself on the ground. We'll go and have a look at it and discuss the history a bit more. When I've done it, I will put the link to it in the description to this video and indeed to the Ellis Way one, so you can watch all of them. Because it is a very interesting story. You wouldn't think anything about a road would be interesting, but there's quite a lot to know. You know, the story of it all actually goes back to 1972, long before the first part of the Peaks Parkway project was built, and it's really fascinating to look into. So keep an eye out for that, but in the meantime, I hope, as I say, you've enjoyed this one. Thank you for watching, take care, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.